frontier.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following podcast is Wrestling Daft and is scheduled for 1 hour. Maybe more. It has no real time limits, making their way into your ears. First, from a place called Barneston, he is the Pyramid. Red Florence!
It's going to be the funniest show ever because I'm all about the comedy and the money, baby.
How much you can pay?
And his partner, Fela Top End of Stevenson.
From Mexico City to Beef Community Centre, I've got stories that are going to blow your mind.
Hello and welcome to Wrestling Daft. My name's Rab Florence and I'm joined, of course, by the great man himself, Grado.
How you doing, mate?
How you doing? You all right? What a show. Listen, hey, what a show we've got lined up for you. On today's episode, I have been so excited to speak to this guy. It is wrestling royalty. The genius himself, Lanny Poffo, is joining us tonight, and I just can't wait to speak to. Oh, I've just had a message. Come in. Sorry, I have got to put my Waynes to bed, so I'm not going to be able to speak to him. Grado, can you and Grado cover this?
We certainly can. Are we doing work or shoot here?
Right, let's shoot on this. Right, we've recorded the interview. We've recorded the interview with Lanny Poffo, and I've had a busy day, and I thought to myself, do you know what, Lanny Poffo, he's for Rab's era wrestling. He's going to take care of this. He knows the score, the genius.
You're saying he's for Rab's era wrestling? Hold on, Lanny Poffo's fucking like he's 65, right?
Aye, but come on, 91, 92. You must have been what?
Well, what I was going to say...
You're 10 years older than me, aren't you?
No spoilers, right? I'm not in the interview, right? But what I was going to say in the interview was that I used to have, when I went to school, in one of my school jotters, I used to have a Genius trading card, WWF trading card with a Genius on it, as a wee kind of bookmark in my jotter at school.
See, that would have been fucking helpful, mate. Instead, what happened was 2 minutes before the interview starts, Rab pulls out, mate, and my farter absolutely collapsed. Thanks to John, who obviously knows about that era more than me. Mate, I was oiled. All I could do was talk about myself as usual.
Grado, that's what people want for the show. People want...
He wasn't interested.
He wasn't fucking interested in you. Get him back on the line. What are you talking about?
I mean, he was like
that.
He was talking about air conditioning in Florida. And I'm going, I've wrestled in Florida. And like fucking... What else was it?
That's the spoilers. Don't tell people what's going to happen.
I know. I just know, fans, that when you're listening to it, it'll probably come through that I was, you know what I mean? Because I just was like, what? Because he's a scary guy, man.
We talked about the fjords.
He's just too intelligent, mate.
Talked about what?
The fjords.
He's a genius, mate.
The fjords. What the fuck?
He wants to. It's on his bucket list. He wants to see the fjords in Norway.
That's a kind of answer. I would have tried to get.
You never really enjoyed it, Rab, but you never really enjoyed it.
And then I thought he cut. There was one bit as well. He talked about the Banff, somewhere the Banff, and I went, "What tune's that in?" And he fucked off, and we were like that. And then he said he had an emergency. I know, didn't he? He said that he had an emergency. And I was like, he's just heard me say, "What tune's that in?" I went, "Oh, fuck this cunt."
That might not make the edit, however. But we did. I'll tell you something that will make the edit, and you'll be able to hear later on. As we talked about Hogan and how he went with Hogan. He was one of the first guys to beat Hogan. We talked about
the next main event.
Obviously, his brother inducted him into the Hall of Fame. We talked about his brother's voice and how that's not real.
Just in case anybody's wondering, his brother is Macho Man Randy Savage. We've not mentioned that.
And we also talked about the size of his penis because Chris Jericho on episode 1 of Wrestling Daft said that he has the biggest penis in wrestling, and he refutes that claim.
And also spoke about me and him talking in Dundee just before he made his entrance, and he had no absolute fucking recollection, I don't think, of me or Dundee. Well, he knew about Dundee, but he never knew that story. He was just like, cool, mate.
To be fair, everybody tries to wipe Dundee out of their memories after they've... Right, anyway. Let's have a look at what's been happening for you, because I'll be honest, I've got any news. Have you got any news, Grado? Grado's getting any news. Grado, about your life.
About my life? Fucking hell, man. I'm on a diet.
He's on a diet.
I've not had any chocolate for Monday.
That's good, mate. That's good. It's hard to get off of chocolate. It's hard to
Mate,
get off of chocolate.
it's fucking hell. It's like fucking, honestly, I genuinely don't think I've had a day off of chocolate since 2015. So,
Do you have chocolate in the house?
mate, well, it's because what do you call that? What do you call that thing again? What do you call it?
Lockdown.
Lockdowning. I'm lockdowning
Aye,
with
aye, aye.
Stephanie, so she's got rid of all the chocolate. I mean, she's got a wee lassie, so there's fucking loads of Freddos and all that, and I think they've all been hid for me. But which is the best thing for me, Rab, because I really want to defeat this.
Mm-hmm. Well, I believe you can do it.
I mean, is chocolate bad for you? You get something in your tooth, mate.
I just noticed that there.
What the fuck's that, man?
I think it's a wee bit of broccoli.
Mate, look at
A wee
this.
bit of chocolate. It's a wee
I've
bit of
got,
chocolate.
see that? Look, I've got a crack in my
Oh, yeah,
tooth.
yeah.
We got a crack in that just before we stopped wrestling, and I've asked to get my teeth fixed. I've actually put a bit of money down to get my teeth fixed, right?
Mm-hmm.
But 2 doors down said I can't get it
Why no?
because they said you're a character actor. You can't go about having lovely teeth.
Perfect.
I think
That's a
that's
good point.
something you tell me.
That is a good point, but
Remember that time you told me not to go on Gogglebox, and then it became the #1 program in UK history.
aye, but hey, but do you know they still get paid fuck all on Google
That's
Box?
true, mate. I know.
They still get paid next to fuck all. It's a bump, that show. Right, let's move on. Let's see the
Let's
correspondence
go.
for last episode. Now, after a conversation about the Weatherspoons app, remember that, and whether the staff were allowed to wrestle or no, Kirk has been in touch. It says, Weatherspoons employees not able to do a wrestling match on shift. On more than one occasion, I had to hammerlock some arsehole punters and henglers and was encouraged to kneel on their neck till the police arrived. Got to love Christmas time and a spoons. No,
That's a bit of a touchy subject right now.
no, I maybe wouldn't have read out that one if
I
I'd
know, mate. Jesus.
realised there was a bit of kneeling on somebody's neck.
I take it, John, you know that there's a big thing in America right now.
No, what?
Right. Well, basically, yesterday or the day before, a Minneapolis policeman put his knee to a black guy's neck until he basically died. So,
All right then. Maybe we shouldn't have put that one in.
No, that's fine. It's
Moving
good to touch on it. Just
But
to
this
let
is
you
good. Listen, it's also good for the listeners to hear
know, in case you haven't heard
this
that.
organic situation.
That we put ourselves in. You know
So
what I mean?
basically, a potential murderer, Kirk, has been.
Yeah, and it's a bit like the face masks. We didn't know about fucking coronavirus face masks with Wrestling Daft on it. We just read it as we see it. Let's keep all this in. This is organic. It just shows you what we need to put away. John obviously has been busy all week trying to come up with questions to fucking show off to Lanny Poffo, and has missed probably the second biggest story in the world
Yes.
after fucking Dumb Dog.
Haggis Head Helmsley started a thread on the best wrestling sign you've seen on Twitter as he put a picture of someone's that said The Rock Peas sitting down. So is this signs that were actually spotted at wrestling matches?
It was.
More flooded in. Louise had DCT as the hairy baby maker.
What's this again? This is signs you've seen.
This is signs that people have seen. Guybrush Streetwood got in and says Bret Hart humps cows was one he saw, which is a good one. I quite like that one. ICW fan 1987 spotted one at an event that said "Fuck Brexit, watch wrestling."
That's a belter.
Emma Louise saw one that said Brock Lesnar is ticklish. One Andy who saw someone, one for Andy here, who saw somebody on Raw with one that said Owen Coyle is God.
That reminds me, do you remember WrestleMania 17? I'm sure there was a guy in the second row with a sign saying the Wayne Rooney.
Oh, nice.
He's on it, and this must have been 2001. Wayne Rooney would have just probably still been at Everton.
Aye.
Started it.
Gary spotted one.
It was also, I know, before you book Grado. That's at the start.
Oh, book Grado. What was that? Sorry, because you dropped out a wee bit there.
I know, I did drop it. I'll say it again.
It's almost like the universe didn't want you to say one about yourself. But
maybe I should keep it to myself.
No. Say it now.
I'm just saying at the start of WrestleMania 30, it pans to the crowd right at the first 2 seconds of WrestleMania 30. There's a big sign saying book Grado.
How did that make you feel when you saw that?
Well, at the time, I'm sure I was wrestling for a company called TNA at the time. And, I kidded on that, there you go, mate. Okay. The rivals, man. I'm kidding.
Gary spotted one for WWE Raw when it came to Glasgow that said Roman Reigns sells Avon.
That's brilliant.
Hey, listen, back to wrestling names for when you were away. Remember we were talking about that? Toby says his wrestling name when he was a kid was Triple M or MMM for short, or is that for short? Imagine your wrestling name being your opponent's day when you come out. Yum. Finisher was a triple elbow drop of doom. Triple elbow drop.
Sounds good, mate.
MMM was main man Michael, the arrogant prick that I was. Beautiful. Guy's just lost his cell. He's remembering that he's just lost his cell in the memory.
I'm going to take a fucking wild guess that the triple elbow drop of doom was probably a wee guy elbowing his pillar, stunning back up, elbowing his pillar again, stunning back up, and elbowing his pillar for the third time. I'm sure that's the triple elbow. Toby, get back to us and let us know if that's what the triple elbow drop of doom was.
Let us know about that. Geordie Coyle said, I remember I was Crippler Coyle. Good old-fashioned nickname there. Good old-fashioned name. Good old-fashioned wrestling name, Crippler Coyle. I had also, that's my fiance's surname, by the way, Coyle as well. Might start calling her Crippler Coyle.
On Coyle's on Wrestling Daft this week. We're all Coyle.
Is he?
Coyle
on Football Daft, you mean?
What did I say?
Wrestling Daft. This is Wrestling Daft.
Sorry, mate. Football Daft.
That's what we should have done. You should have put the genius on Football Daft and on Coyle on this.
Fucking brilliant. That'd be brilliant because you're both not having a fucking clue who he is. Toe gone. Is that fucking Lanny Poffo?
Geordie Coyle said Crippler. He says he was Crippler Coyle and he'd also created his guy on N64's No Mercy. Fantastic wrestling game. When I rented it for Global Video, the next week one of my neighbours asked if I had it out because there was a guy in it with the same name as me. Didn't know it saved data to the game. I love that story.
That's brilliant.
That's a brilliant story. That's brilliant. So somebody created themselves in the game and then somebody else got it out a Global a week later and he was in it. That's fucking brilliant. I never even thought about that. Of course
Great
that would
story.
happen. It's a great story, isn't it? I don't even think Geordie Coyle realises how good that story is. That's a brilliant story. Well done, Geordie. Listener of the week, unless something amazing happens. Hazy was also back in touch and said, in hindsight, I would have called myself Dominic Cummings as I would have been fucking untouchable. Oh, here we go. A wee bit of satire's coming in.
There we go, man.
Like
there we
the
go.
satirists, the great satirists of Scotland are coming in there.
Explain satire to me, the actual meaning of it.
Well, you're heading into a difficult area here when you're asking somebody to define what satire is, because people argue about that, what satire is. But it's essentially, I would define satire as comedy that makes a point about a subject, satirize a subject, lampoons something, but in a kind of serious way, right? So that's what I would say satire is.
Right. So
you know what I mean?
I get it.
But people would argue with that. People would argue.
So it's like having a joke about a serious subject, kind of.
Well, not necessarily just having a joke about a serious subject, but also it depends. It's like it's almost like it's like a critique, like to criticize people. Often it's topical. I would say usually it's something that's going on in the now, but it's usually to form an analytical critique of something or someone through comedy, I would say. Speaking of satire, Dominic Cummings, Chris brought our attention to comedian Mark Nelson, who tweeted that he wished Cummings had walked out to the DX theme when he did his press conference. Mark Nelson would be a nice guest in this show.
He would be perfect on this.
That's a nice guy.
He's a great guy.
Tam Osborne has been on and says, I purchased the excellent Total Extreme Wrestling 2020 game a day and decided to become the booker for ICW. Grado is listed in the game as a showstopper, and this is his description. He isn't so bad as to be labelled boring.
Is that good or no?
I would say it's better than being. That's fucking mad. There's the picture. Grado is perceived by the fans to be well known. He has impressive charisma, good in-ring psychology.
Nice.
Selling of moves is impressive.
I sell myself.
And while he's solid rather than spectacular, he isn't so bad as to be labelled boring.
So right, isn't it?
Yeah, what did he say? But Joe Coffey was on the show. Was it last week Joe Coffey was on?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Joe Coffey is perceived by the fans to be well known. He has good charisma, good in-ring psychology. His selling of moves is good. And while he's solid rather than spectacular, he isn't so bad as to be labelled boring.
So he gets in. Look at Trent Seven. Trent Seven is perceived by the fans to be unimportant. He has good charisma, good in-ring psychology. His selling of moves is very good, although his lack of flash does spoil the package somewhat. What's unimportant?
Sammy Callahan. While he may not be the flashiest wrestler on the planet, you wouldn't call him dull either. I love these. I need to get this game. A challenge for next week, right? Danilo says, because people were doing their partners 11 footballers, right? So what was this? You need to explain to me what is this?
Right, basically, Jamie Carragher.
What is this?
Jamie Carragher was on Twitter and said, right, go to your girlfriend or partner or wife and ask them to name the first 11 footballers that come to them, and we'll put them in a formation. So get them to do like a goalie and put them in a 4-4-2. So this is a big thing on Twitter. So Daniel has decided to do this with wrestlers, you see.
Right, okay. So the suggestion here is, so he decided to ask his girlfriend to name a 6-person wrestling stable, right? Now, what we're saying here, by the way, what I want to say, as opposed to what John said there, right, what I want to say is, you ask your significant other, you might be a lassie asking your significant other who isn't into wrestling.
I said partner.
You did, but you went partner, girlfriend, wife, the woman who lives with you. So I'm saying to you, if you're a woman and your boyfriend's on to wrestling, go to them, ask them to name a 6-person wrestling stable and see how they come up with. Here's what Danilo's girlfriend came up with. John Cena, Randy Savage, The Rock, Big Show, Orange Cassidy and Goldust on a stable together. That's an interesting one. It's interesting that Orange Cassidy would be in the mix there. I think his girlfriend fancies Orange Cassidy.
I think his girlfriend likes wrestling as well.
Why do you think that? Because she knows Orange Cassidy?
Kinda. No?
Orange Cassidy's got a wee bit of a kind of mainstream appeal, though. He's kind of, he's kind of crossed over a wee bit, I would say. People are seeing him on Twitter doing wee bits and pieces. She's maybe seen him, but I quite fancy him. What's his name? Orange Cassidy. You know what I mean? She's like, I would dump this Danilo guy in a heartbeat if I could get 5 minutes with Big Orange Cassidy.
I wonder if I don't like Orange Cassidy.
Surprised you don't like him. That fucking first name he's got. If you want to get in touch with us about any of that or just random wrestling related stuff, get us on Twitter at Wrestling Daft, on Instagram at Wrestling Daft Podcast, just Wrestling Daft on Facebook, or email us at wrestlingdaft@gmail.com. Every week we learn to separate the good from the bad in wrestling. The sight tests to be driving to test your sight. You know what I mean? There's satire.
That's satirical.
It's satire, Grado. That's satire there. Thanks, John.
Oh, pause. Say it again.
Right. Every week we like to separate the good for the bad in wrestling. The sight tests for the driving to test your sight.
That's satirical.
That is satire. Aye. Yeah, it is.
John shaking his
It's a
head.
wee bit of satire.
Satire.
The very definition of satire. But what do you want to bury a put this week? Did you see AEW's big shop mall extravaganza? Boom, 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 boom. Carry on.
I've not managed to watch it. But I heard Jim Cornette talking about the ladder match. He basically buried it, but he buries everything on AEW anyway, didn't he? Did you see it?
I saw it. It was good fun. That was a good fun match.
Did you like that? I'm intrigued in your opinion of the Stadium Stampede. I thought it was brilliant, and it was like what Money in the Bank should have been. I thought it was brilliant.
It was far better than Money in the Bank.
Aye.
Oh,
it was far better executed than Money in the Bank.
I would go so far to say as I think it's probably the best produced wrestling match, and I'm including the Firefly Funhouse and the Buried Casket match in that, or the Buried Alive match.
I didn't prefer it. I prefer the Buried. I prefer the Undertaker's at the Boneyard match.
What
I would say.
What about the Matt Hardy thing?
Oh,
that was good.
It was a different kind of match. But no, probably the Hardy compound one.
There was so many good ideas, and they were really well executed. And the whole Matt Hardy bit was great. Now I know there was some people saying that they shouldn't have done trying to drown somebody in a pool segment after the tragedy that had happened that week. You know, that was one of the things that was getting said about it. But
that's fucking weird. That happened. They put a drowning thing.
They did have a drowning segment in it. But I think Matt Hardy's. I think the whole reincarnation thing underwater that Matt Hardy's been doing has been established for so long that I don't think. I never made the association when I watched it at all. It was only when I saw people talking about it afterwards. I
wouldn't make that connection either if I was watching it, I must admit.
I was just waiting for the reincarnation thing to happen. I was just watching that. Matt Hardy put in a really good shift in that match. I loved the Matt facts coming up on the side and stuff. It was excellent.
It's really made me think I'm choking to get something like an ICW. one of these produced matches would be, and put with Ian fucking Twist on it.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, aye. I mean, it would be great.
What kind of produced match would you like to do, Grado?
No, man. Something to do with a bum bag. Try and get the bum bag for something. Do you know what I mean? Try and get the...
Put it at the top of the science tower.
Do you know what I mean? That's what I mean. Something like that. Or at the top of fucking... Do you know what I'd do? In Cineworld in Glasgow, put the bum bag at the top, because is that not the tallest building in the town?
It might be.
You've got elevators. You've got elevators to play with, and elevators and that.
Popcorn to eat, sweeties to eat.
Popcorn, but that's been a bit too much. That's what would you call him? The guy that's, what do you call him? Otis, aye.
I think you've got something there, Grado. Did you see thinking of the way out of that cinema?
See, I do. I think that'd be good. But
some great spots in there.
do you know what? No, it doesn't start there. It should be used like the subway, the underground, and you go to fucking Ibrox, then you go to what else is in the subway?
That's it, mate.
But you know what I mean? You did, what's that thing I've done with the boys when you the underground? What is it again?
The sub crawl.
Something like that with wrestling, and you come out and there's, you know what I mean, we're fucking fighting the streets of Glasgow. That'd be garrulous, wouldn't it?
Aye. I'm sure he's will do that. I'm sure
I'm sure Darcy's
I've got one for you. Here's a bit of booking for you, right? It's the sub crawl. You get a belt at the start. So it's like the Royal Rumble a wee bit, right? So the first wrestler starts at the first stop, right? You go on to the next stop. There's a wrestler there. You have a match in the subway. Whoever wins the match goes on to the next stop. And whoever gets the winner getting round to the last stop wins the belt. What about that?
That's great, mate.
So who do you talk to about executing wrestling matches on the platform of a subway station?
Well,
let's see what the punters are saying. Let's see
okay.
what the punters are saying, right? We'll just think about that. We'll just think about how we're going to make that happen. Westy wants to put over AEW for bringing in Brian Cagle. Is it Cagle?
Cage. It's just John.
Is it how do you pronounce that, John? Is it Cagle?
Sorry, it's Brian Cage.
Brian Cagel. Brian Cagel for Belgium.
Brian Cagel. Let's just refer to him as Brian Cagel.
Right. But AEW brought in Brian Cage. The man's an absolute machine, says Westy. What kind of machine, though? There's lots of different machines. A fucking washing machine. It's a soda stream. What kind of machine do you mean?
A soda stream.
Martin wants to put all WWE for putting NXT talent in as fans for Raw, made it more watchable. Definitely. Did you see that, Grado? There's no NXT punters, NXT wrestlers in the audience for Raw to get a wee bit merry an atmosphere, just like AEW were doing, you know.
No, but tell me, that's what I was going to say. What has AEW done for fans?
Well, they have crew and they have like crew and wrestlers and stuff.
Right. Because I remember they done that 1 week, but they get buried online because they didn't have a social distance. I take it they're going with these guys have been tested, yada.
Yeah, it's a different situation. John wants to put over MJF and Jungle Boy at Double or Nothing, best match of the night. Amazing. Only 9 years of experience between them.
That's crazy when you think about it.
He wants to bury Gronk in his shit sunglasses. Why is this guy on WWE? Why are you no on WWE, John? Ian wants to bury cyberbullies.
Oh, the Japanese lassie, which I couldn't believe it. Well, I'm saying it couldn't believe, but it was something I never expected to see on my Sky News. That's how I found it. Which was always a fucking sad thing, man. It's just but do you know what? Wrestling fans could be fucking horrible sometimes.
I mean, fans of everything these days, I think, are horrible. You know what I mean? A proportion of them, I think things need to change there.
But do you just go into like some YouTube comments and that and stuff, and I think, fuck me, man. I think a lot of wrestling folk get it tight. Our fans, equally, I mean, wrestling fans are brilliant because they're the most passionate. I think they're the most passionate thing, like apart from like, what's up there with? Give me something, Star Wars or some shit, N64s. Yeah. You know what I mean? All that kind of Am I talking shit?
No. It's true. But I think it's just, it's a terrible situation because I think Hannah Kimura would have been, you would have seen her. She would have been a big star, I think, you know what I mean? You would have seen her out here, I think. And it's a shame. I say out here, I don't mean fucking Helensburgh, where I mean out in the United States of America. So it's a terrible loss. Ross wants to bury AEW for not giving me a reason to get behind most of the talent. Over a year and the backgrounds of the characters are still hazy. He wants to put over Grado for recommending Dark Side of the Ring. Hey, hooked from start to finish, brother.
Brilliant. You know what's in that yet, Rab, now?
No, I've not watched I've not watched any of that yet, but I will though.
Well, that's what I say about the wrestling.
Steve wants to put our Orange Cassidy for his whole can he be fucked putting up a ladder and just try stretching for the poker chip, and for the fact he's sliding into Danilo's girlfriend's DMs every night. And he wants to bury Mike Tyson for nearly crashing out at ringside, but I'm not going to tag him in this for fear of getting a whooping off him. Imagine Mike Tyson saw a guy tweeting us about how shite he was, and then kind of, did you say on Twitter that I was shite for Wrestling Daft? And try and get him. Big Mad Andy.
I thought you were going to say go to his door. Like fucking, yeah. I don't know if you ever know the story a couple of years ago about Stephen Fludder and Chris Masters at PCW. Did you ever see that video?
No.
Somebody had been pirating PCW DVDs,
right?
And Chris Masters was booked for PCW, and Steve Fludder, the promoter, who's about my height, quite well built. Well, Stephen won't mind me. He's a big fella, big chubby fella. Not that that's getting to do with it, but he fucking took Chris Masters to the guy's door. And they filmed it, and he was going, "You playing my DVDs? You playing my DVDs?" And just Masters in the background, fucking cracking his fucking horns and all that. Hunter was shitting himself. I was like, what the fuck am I watching? Do you know what I mean? That's the last thing he would have thought would have happened. Masters and fucking the promoter come to the door. You saw my DVDs.
That's a nightmare. That's a nightmare. WWE Haggis wants to bury wrestling companies thinking they're immune and put in their fuck all because it's been utter shite before lockdown happened. So been utter shite well before lockdown. However, WWE, he's just raging. Haggis is just raging. Big Mad Andy wants to put our Kevin Nash. Gets a lot of grief, Big Man, but he tweeted out some nice stuff over the weekend. And he's burying Joey Janela. What's the point in him? Get him so far to fuck. Man, listen, be kind, please. Fire Soul wants to put over Double or Nothing, especially the Stadium Stampede match. I was fucking howling at the part Matt Hardy was hitting it with. No going to bury anything this week, keeping things positive for a change.
That's nice.
I appreciate Fire Soul. That just proves that the fire in your soul doesn't need to burn out of control. You can contain it. Sorry, Grado. What were you saying, Grado?
I'm sorry, I get cut off there. What were you saying?
No, what were you saying?
I wanted to know what your thoughts were on that spot. I've not seen it, but Jim, is it still? But am I all right?
You're all right. You're good.
Yeah, just because Cornette was burying it, saying the stunning on the ladder and says it wasn't funny. So I wanted to know what you thought about it. Was it funny? What did Cabana do? I know he's burying Cabana and all, but he always buries Cabana.
It was just the problem, I suppose, with it was just a fun, light match. You know what I mean? Like, why is Cornette even fucking
don't look too much
getting angry about it? You know what I mean?
Right,
what?
Okay.
I mean, what's going on with him? Scott says he wants to bury Livy for letting fans decide the fate of a player's contract, but he wants to put over Livy for tweeting this. Did Livingston actually do this?
I know, because I went to see it. Did they obviously delete it, John?
This is a genuine tweet that Livingston tweeted because they're one of their goalkeepers out of contract, and they put on Twitter, a poll saying, should we give him a new contract or not? It was obviously a press stunt.
A joke, yeah.
This is a genuine tweet that Livy put out.
But it says 16th October 2011. It was tweeted.
I know, but this is what they actually put this out.
So is that a real tweet or not? Because look, it says 16th October 2011.
It's a real tweet, aye.
Do you see what I'm saying, Rob?
Yeah, but how did that happen in 16th October?
How could they know that they were going to tweet that?
I don't know.
Did they take...
Are you starting to reconsider if it's real now?
I know, I was starting to reconsider it. I was giving this a... I think they had.
Or did Livingston tweet out a photo of Hogan's tweet, which probably happened in 2011?
That's what I'm saying. They've took it for... I mean, it's an easy cut and paste job.
Maybe,
but either way, it's still fucking hilarious.
It's still hilarious anyway.
It's still
That's-
brilliant.
Just to say again, just for anybody listening to this, what we're
Brilliant.
looking at is a Livingston FC tweet that says, "Good night, Hulkamaniacs and jabroni marks without a life that don't know how to work when you work a work and work yourself into a shit marks," which is the best tweet that Hulk Hogan ever put out in his life. Anyway, there we go.
Anyway,
We need to find out if that's real. Let's find out if it's real.
I feel as if
No,
I've killed
it's not
John's
real.
buzz.
I've been duped by the listeners.
Well, tell you what, there might be a genius on this show tonight, but it's no fucking you, John.
You just made the list!
This week on our Patreon, we asked for you guys to vote on a list of wrestling daft. Remember, you can vote on this, vote in the direction of the show itself by signing up for $4 a month.
There you go, mate. You get to vote for £4. Get that in there, man.
Patreon.com/wrestling daft, no backslashes. This week, as we did worst gimmicks a few weeks ago, we thought we'd throw up best gimmicks, maybe, as a wee list. And that was up against the best moments of WCW under Bischoff as he turned 65 this week. Okay.
Why are we celebrating his 65th?
Because he's retired now, he can get his bus pass. With 67% of the vote, it was the best moments in WCW that won, and I'm going to do my top three right now. And okay, so here we go. So my top three, this is quite tricky for me, actually. This is
I
quite
find that hard, but
this is quite tricky for me, right? But here's my number three, right? My number three is the 3-hour Nitro, right? Now, the concept of the 3-hour Nitro with the structure of the opening hour of the cruiserweights and the Lucha Libre guys leading up to the bigger guys and the kind of European imports, the structure of that show, I don't think there is enough credit given to WCW Nitro under Bischoff for what he did, showing how you could structure a 3-hour wrestling show. No, and I think the case in point here is you look at the 3-hour long Raw that we watch, and they just can't do it as well as Bischoff did it with Nitro. So that is my number three, is the structure of the 3-hour WCW Nitro. How do you feel about that, Grado?
I like that. I like it because Defo at the time they ever complained.
No.
About did they? In
I
fact,
don't
they
think
probably
so.
did. But they probably did complain actually.
Ever complain about like, I remember people enjoying the fact you could turn it on, you tune in, you knew in the first hour you were going to see all these cracking cruisers, you were going to see Juventud Guerrera and all that, or jumping about, you were going to see these fast matches. You knew you were going to get teased for the fact that Hogan was going to be there in the third hour and stuff like that. It was built up beautifully. You knew that in that middle hour you were going to get people like Alex Wright and all that, and Disco Inferno, and you know what I mean, you had all this. It was great. It was a beautifully structured show. So that's my number three, is the structure of WCW Nitro.
I like where you done that.
My number two is going to be, and this is what I was deliberating here because I had this at number one originally, but it has to be my number two. My number two. Yeah,
I guess it.
Guess it.
Well, is it Hogan and Goldberg on Raw, Nitro?
No, it is the push for Diamond Dallas Page.
Aye, mate, he was so big.
The push for Diamond Dallas Page is my number two.
He was on Ricky Lake and fucking everything, mate.
Like I said, this was my number one originally because I kind of feel quite a lot of the time I think to myself, I'm not sure if at any other promotion, DDP, the vision wouldn't have been there to give DDP that push. DDP was an unlikely looking guy, an unlikely guy to be in the spot that he was in. But my God, they got behind him and they pushed him, and he was worth every minute of that push. You know what I mean? He was fantastic. The fans, he was so over. You couldn't get much more over than DDP was. And it was a beautiful push, a lovely kind of organic push, a push that took time, a push that, DDP talks about it beautifully. He talks about what Macho Man did. We're feeding into the fact that Lanny Poffo is going to blow in this, what Macho Man did to help put DDP over and stuff like that. But I think WCW, everybody talks a lot about NWO and all of that. And everybody talks a lot about Ric Flair, and everybody talks a lot about Sting, and everybody talks about. But I think WCW Nitro without Diamond Dallas Page would have been a completely different picture. I think, you know what I mean. Having a guy like that in that mix was that's my number two.
And it makes you think in hindsight now when you think about it. That moment on Raw when DDP taking off his balaclava, it was amazing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you get, it was such a fucking bullshit way in terms of he was stalking Undertaker's wife. I mean, why would he want to stalk the? And you just think he could have fucking been involved in any other storyline and taken that mask off, and he could have made. He was so fucking big.
The Rock should have been in the ring. The Rock should have been in the ring doing a promo and then fucking self high five and out comes DDP. It's as simple as that. It should have been as simple as that.
Because I'm sure fucking, I'm sorry to talk about Cornette again, but I'm sure he booked in his like fantasy WrestleMania 18. I'm sure it was something like DDP versus The Rock, and it's something I think it was The Rock, and you just think, fuck, that could have worked. Do you know what I mean? Fucking DDP was like fucking over in America, no just. In wrestling, he was fucking... That would have been
massive. It would have been worth it just to have seen The Rock of that era selling a diamond cutter, because I think that would have been a sight to behold. The Rock selling a diamond cutter, I think, you know what I mean? So that's my number 2. And my number 1, it's going to be bringing in Kevin Nash and Scott Hall. It's going to be... I had to, you know... It was a tricky one for me, but when it comes down to it, in terms of the impact that had upon the scene of professional wrestling and stuff like that, it has to be bringing in Hall and Nash and the start of that whole run and the NWO brother.
That's good. Can I just say a couple of mine? My favourite. I know you're talking about. You loved. Who were we talking about there? Was it DDP or something before that?
DDP and yeah.
Do you know what I remember? I remember buying. Fucking, I was hooked. I bought a best of Raven and WCW video, and it was 4 4-hour videos long. It was literally 16 hours long, and I watched that fucking tape all day and night in my grand's. Raven and WCW was amazing. Do you ever remember WCW? Aye.
Oh, aye.
I mean, I can't remember it happened in it, but I just remember loving it. Right. Lance Storm's theme music.
You also had, just before you move on for Raven, because you also had run about Raven, you had Canyon and stuff like that as well. And I was a big fan of all of them. You know what I mean?
Canyon, and then also because I used to take the video every day on Global, that fucking Triple Cage gimmick.
Oh, aye.
And folk bury that, but I fucking, as a way, I loved that, man. When Canyon got through off the top of that cage.
It's a spectacle, isn't it, when you're a wee guy?
Mega. He was a stuntman, wasn't he? I'm sure, Canyon.
I'm not sure. Or he
was either a stuntman for that Ready to Rumble or something like that. I don't know, but he had fucking stayed. It was very sad. Very, very sad. Who better than Canyon? And as well, I always wondered how they managed to get away with that fucking ripping off the theme music.
I know. I love that shit.
It's good, isn't it?
Yep. I mean, because it was so close. It was so close. Anyway, let's see what a pun
is. Is that shite, John? Talking about, is that shite?
No, that's good.
No, it's beautiful. Don't cut that, John.
No, don't cut that. Don't cut it. That's good shit. That's good shit.
Keith Richardson says Sting versus NWO. A great story to lead to a match with Hogan. It was built up over a long period of time, which you never see these days. Always enjoyed the Stinger coming down for the rafters to beat them up with his baseball bat. I mean, it's iconic, isn't it? Sting coming down for the rafters, or Sting sitting up in the rafters and watching them. Beautiful stuff. McIntyre's Tartan Army says Goldberg's undefeated streak to become WCW World Heavyweight Champion in the Georgia Dome, just the crowd that night.
And is it not true that they only... What was the deal with that? Did they not just make a decision last minute to go to the Georgia Dome? And they had I'm sure they had 4 days to sell tickets, and they sold it out.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
I'm sure there's a story behind that. Where
we need to get Eazy on this show and ask him about this stuff.
He's a crab bastard.
He would love us. He would love us. Steve, having Medusa debut in Nitro with the WWF's women's belt and then dump it in the trash can, such a gangster move. See, I don't like that kind of thing. I turned my mic off. I was so angry there. I don't like that, flinging belts in bins. It's not for me. John Montgomery says Macho Man taking the diamond cutter and making DDP. Always liked him as a manager and even more as a wrestler. Also think Sting Flair on the last Nitro was a great touch, as they were the main event on the first Nitro. That was a sad affair, seeing them two wrestle on the last Nitro, although it was dead exciting as well, wasn't it? Seeing Ian McMahon walk out and all that, it was mind-blowing.
It was fucking brilliant, man, wasn't it?
It was mind-blowing.
It was brilliant.
Bronze Cello.
And I love how Jeremy Borash has got a story about that, about how it's fucking brilliant. He was just obviously he had been doing the internet WCW show, and the guy that he done it with, they were sitting there in the crowd when Shane McMahon was in the ring and all that. Let's just fucking attack the ring. Let's just do it. If we get beat up, it doesn't matter. Fuck it. We're going to lose our jobs. Yep. Let's do it. Let's just fucking get it down in the middle of the ring. We've got nothing to lose.
Yep.
And he says he was that close to fucking doing it.
Oh, man.
Just imagine it. Fucking, that'd been brilliant.
That's a brilliant story. Bronze Cello, good friend of the show, says WCW turned the tide in '94 with the acquisition of One Man, followed by a record pay-per-view buys, possibly one of the greatest WCW moments, the Disney MGM parade and the announcement of the signing of Hulk Hogan.
Do you know what? I think that was on ITN News. Remember John Sushi?
Yeah.
I'm sure it made head ITN News when Hogan signed for WCW.
Maybe.
Aye.
It's a big deal. Deal. However, he needed the outsiders coming in. Needed that kick into something. Rich says Starrcade 1993 Flair versus Vader, just perfect storytelling.
Match. Love that.
And Max says calling Vince out to fight him on pay-per-view.
Aye.
He's karate gear on and taking that jackknife off the stage.
I think this guy's got mixed up with Eric Bischoff's top moments, does he know?
Kevin Nash, I don't know what guys. Scott, the whole cruiserweight division. Hey, the stars that have came for that are unbelievable and started the movement that you didn't have to be 6'9", 350 pounds to be a star. Also, one of my favourite matches ever: Ray versus Eddie, Halloween Havoc '97. See that first hour of Nitro with the cruiserweights? It was dynamite. Scott,
stand the test of time, didn't he?
Yep. Scott says his namesake Scott Steiner turning his back on his brother's Rick. And his brother Rick, no, he's not got two brothers called Rick, just one brother. His brother Rick to join the NWO and become Big Papa Pump. If it wasn't for that moment, we probably wouldn't have got all the now famous Steiner promos. So I love Steiner's chainmail head thing. I love it.
I know.
Craig says the Four Horsemen ceremony with Ric Flair's return and Flair calling himself a son of a bitch. And I think, did he fling his shoes into the crowd as well?
Aye.
That one. He did, didn't he?
So when he does that and all, when he takes off his tap and elbow drops his tap and stuff like that. Aye.
Bischoff. See, the problem is history is written by the victors, in it, and so the WWE write a lot of the history, all of this stuff and all that. But Eric Bischoff's legacy is really quite something. You know what I mean? Really quite something.
And plus, we wouldn't get all the drama. Like, see the way fucking Russo and Bischoff hate each other and stuff like that, and the finger poke of doom and stuff like this. You know. All that stuff fucking brilliant to listen to about now. You know what I mean?
It was great. Listen, I don't know if for wrestling fans who lived through it, I genuinely think wrestling fans who lived through the Monday Night Wars, new wrestling fans, no new wrestling fans that come along will ever experience anything as exciting as that again. I don't think.
Totally agree, man. Even just like I was saying to my girlfriend that week, I was like, you've no idea how much a buzz Friday nights were as a wee guy. Do you know what I mean? And Thursday, because I think maybe the no show Nitro on a Thursday on Bravo.
I can't remember how it lined up. What we used to do when we were wee guys. Well, no, we were wee guys. I wasn't a wee guy when it was happening. I was like I must have been like 19 or something. I'm not really sure, but I used to tape Nitro and tape Raw, and then watch both of them on the Saturday right after one another. Was
it on the UK's version of TNT?
Oh, I can't mind. Maybe.
I think it was.
It was Bravo. Was it no Bravo?
But I think Bravo was near the tail end. I'm sure there was a TNT. A UK, I could be wrong. The fans can write in, but also I say about just like fucking the excitement of watching, like maybe I think South Park was on, Trigger Happy TV, Father Ted, then Raw.
The pasta.
Fucking brilliant, man.
What a place!
Going to miss that? Do you know what I mean?
What a place the past was. This is the thing. It's like it doesn't have the same.
Because
Monday Night Wars was brilliant. Because let me tell you something here. Here's what was exciting about the Monday Night Wars. You had the genuine sense that whatever company won, the other company was going to go down the tubes. It was like thrive or survive. It was survive or die, survive or live or not live. Death or never say never again.
Woo! Now let's introduce a living legend of wrestling. Through the 80s, he worked for companies such as NWA and Mid-South. It was one of the original high flyers in the business, introducing moonsault, sentons to North America as Leaping Lanny. Then, through his work as a genius, he became one of the few people to beat the Hulkster in the WWF. Please welcome to the show one of the nicest guys I've ever met in my life, Mr. Lanny Poffo.
I am the genius full of glory and renown, still living in the past. Thank you.
You know what? I thought you were going to start a poem there. I know you like your poems.
Oh, yes, I do like a poem.
Oh, you love your poems. I remember when you came to Dundee for SWE, I think it was a couple of years ago, and I'm sure you had the room paying close attention to your poem. It was beautiful.
Oh, flower of Scotland, when will we see your light again?
And fought and died for.
Hill and Glen, and stood against him. Against who? Proud Edward's army, wanker. Again.
That is amazing, man. Hey, how you are so brainy? I mean, you really are the genius. Where did you get all that? You speak so eloquent in every interview that I hear you. Is that just something that you had as a boy? You just grew up? Did you like reading books?
Well, I don't even like to read now. I read stop signs and things. I do audiobooks. I'm a more of a listening learner. But anyway, I didn't have 20-inch arms. So I pointed to my head a lot. And I just took advantage of my own natural resources. And if I would have had, the Ultimate Warrior's body, I wouldn't have pointed to my head. I would have pointed to my arms.
It's a bit like myself, mate. I don't really have much of a figure on myself either, but I'm sure you had a better figure back in the day with me. I've been compared to being built like a loaf of bread, which isn't the best for being in the wrestling business. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you just do the best you can with what you got.
Exactly. I started a diet on Monday.
What's that?
I started a diet on Monday. I haven't had chocolate in 3 days.
Wow.
There you go, mate.
See, I'm going to start a diet and exercise program, but I'm too hungry and tired.
Mate, I feel you. Right now I'm working through this lockdown. I'm busier than ever for some bizarre reason. And all I want to do is eat and sleep and watch wrestling.
I want to go to Hogmanay before I die.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, Hogmanay? Or the Americans don't call it Hogmanay?
What do we call it?
New Year's Eve? Is that New Year's Eve? You call it?
Yeah, but I want to go to Hogmanay because I want to do it in Glasgow or Edinburgh.
See, do you know much about Scotland?
I got YouTube and I'm looking at it. So if there's any way I could get around without freezing my arse, I'd be fine.
Freezing your arse.
We need to try and get you a booking at ICW, Lanny, which is the big promotion over here.
ICW?
Yeah, I know you wrestled in the original ICW back in the day, didn't you?
Well, it was called International Championship Wrestling, ICW. What's yours called?
Insane Championship Wrestling.
Insane? Ooh.
Yes,
Yeah.
We're insane. We're all off our heads. We're crazy. How did you find Dundee when you came?
Well, I just flew into Edinburgh and they just drove me to Dundee. What
right.
happened on the way to the show was I think there were 200,000 people on the street jamming traffic because they were trying to break away from the UK.
Oh, was that right in the middle of that time?
That's what happened.
That was an absolute nightmare to live through in Scotland. It was a pain in the arse. But anyway, enough talking about what I remember about that night in SWE. I felt terrible, right? You might not remember this. And sorry, I'll need to speak slower for you because I know the Scottish accent can throw you a wee bit. But if I remember rightly, I was talking to you right at the, I was going to say gorilla, but it's not much a gorilla. It was a fucking fire exit, basically. And I'm sure your music hit. And you were busy talking to me, and you ended up coming out of the side of the stage instead of walking down the ring. So you kind of came out the side through the crowd, and I was like, I feel terrible because I've just fucking distracted this guy.
Absent-minded genius.
Lanny, you started off, your dad, Angelo, was obviously, you're a second generation wrestler, and you and Randy sort of started with him training. Was it always something that the two of you guys wanted to do, or was it something that your dad, put you down that path?
Well, Randy, made 4 years in baseball in the professionals, and he got 3 unconditional releases, and then he finally decided to go into wrestling, and it was on something to fall back on. But he had decided from the day one that he wasn't just going to be a wrestler, he was going to get to the top. Of course, I decided that too, and I actually did attain it for 4 months. But Randy did it for many years. And but I had a cup of coffee in the big time. Do you remember that interview?
Oh.
Cup of coffee in the big time, yeah.
So yeah, I'm assuming the 4 months you're referring to is, that little run that you had 89 to 90 with Hogan. That how did you get yourself into that position? Going from being Leaping Lanny and then obviously switching up to the Genius King. How did that opportunity come around?
Well, what happened was I was going to be they were wishing me luck on my future endeavors. Do you know what that is?
I've been releasing you.
Yes. And they said, Lanny, you're a great employee. You're always on time. You always pass a drug test. You know, you're reliable and everything. We hate to do this, but you've been here 5 years and we have too many baby faces. We need heels, which means we have too many good guys. We need bad guys or villains. So I was married at the time and I had a daughter, and I still have a daughter, but I'm no longer married. And so
I got
did
that.
you get that? Bitter? Who's bitter? So I said, well, why don't you make me a bad guy? So Cheap J Strombo said, you can't be a bad guy. You're too good looking. So I said, well, you were a babyface for 35 years, and you are the ugliest man I've ever met. And so everybody laughed, but I wasn't laughing. So we were in Boston, and I said a poem derogatory to the sports teams of Boston. So my name is Lanny Poffo. I always know what's up. The Bruins haven't got a chance to win the Stanley Cup. The Red Sox haven't won in years. I hope they never do. The Celtics are a travesty. The Patriots are too. And a fan jumps in the ring, and I nail him. And then I start the third verse or fourth verse, whatever it was, and another fan jumps in the ring, and the police are in there, and it's a mini riot, and the match doesn't take place. So I come back to the dressing room, and Vince is there and says, well, it looks like you weren't as good looking as we thought. Do you have any ideas for a gimmick? I said, how about Boy Genius? And he says, well, how about the genius Lanny Poffo will do 6 vignettes, and then we'll drop Lanny Poffo. And I said, nothing doing, Vince. It's either my way or the highway. No, I didn't say that. I said, okay, Vince, anything you want. So,
but I mean,
and then, what's that?
I guess you then go from that, and you're in a program with the big star, the big draw, and the big money.
Well, Hulk Hogan liked my gimmick. I love it. As a matter of fact, can you turn the dial up on that? He says, because I've got an idea. I said, nothing doing, Hulk. I'll do the ideas. No, I said, okay, Mr. Hogan. And the next thing you know, he had an idea for me, and I couldn't believe it because he didn't lose to anybody. And then they put me with Mr. Perfect, and that was fantastic. And for 4 months, I was like he took me to all the main events and all over the WWE. And then the only time I ever got in an argument or denied Randy one of his wins, he was having a CD, Be a Man, Hulk.
Oh, that's right. Be a Man, Hulk. I remember that.
Yeah, and he says, I need for you to write something, a rap tune against Hulk Hogan. And I said, I can't do that. He says, can't or won't. I said, both. I said, my whole career, 21 years, I was either the big fish in a little pond or a little pond in he brought me to the dance. I can't spit in his face. I feel like even though he hasn't done anything for me lately, I feel that he gave me something that I can never forget, or, I have to be appreciative the rest of my life. But I'll tell you what I will do. I will write a beautiful song for Mr. Perfect for you. Ooh, that'd be great. So I said, and I wrote it for him and he liked it, but by the time that he sang it, he had tweaked it to death or edited it or something. I couldn't recognize it, for my own. So at least he was happy though.
Was that real? The stuff with Savage when he wrote that rap song, I thought that was a work. Was it for real?
Oh yeah, he was angry.
Oh my! For years
I thought, yeah.
Right.
Because we had a shock jock radio guy named Bubba the Love Sponge.
That's right.
And every day for 5 days a week, they would trash the family. Well, I wouldn't listen to it. That was my way of getting even. Mm-hmm. And, that was Hulk Hogan's friend. They since ended up in court, over something, right?
Something.
Yeah. And so anyway, my point is I still appreciate Hulk Hogan for all he's done for me. And I appreciate Vince McMahon, and I appreciate the Macho Man. Can't we all get along?
Exactly. It's like, I mean, I've listened to some of your interviews before, and you talk about wrestlers say it's not about what you make. What is it? What's the line again? It's not about what you make, it's what you earn. It's not about what you earn, it's what you save.
And invest wisely.
Yes. So did you do that?
Oh, yes, I did. And I'm the opposite of Ric Flair. Now, I love Ric Flair. He was always nice to me. But I'm not a kiss-stealing, limousine-riding, wheeling-dealing, jet-flying son of a gun. Right? Woo. You know, I'm a mutual fund buying, I've got, I have boring investments, but I have streams of income. And I've been retired since I was 50, and I'm 65 now, so that's 15 years of retirement. And I am no longer married, but I have a beautiful daughter who will be, on Friday, she turns 36, and she's given me 2 beautiful grandsons. One is 3 years old, the other is 6 months old.
You say you're retired though, Lanny. You know, at the age of 60, you know, up to a few years, you're still doing it in the ring. You're still Ring of Honor. You're still doing comms on Ring of Honor. What drives you on to keep doing it?
Well, I said I was retired. I didn't say I was dead yet. So, and the thing is, I had an opportunity to go, you know, believe it or not, I've been all over Europe, all over England, but never Scotland, you see? And that's why a couple of years ago, that's where I met you. That's and right. I was thrilled to be there, and they took very good care of me because I wanted to do the touristy thing too.
Lanny, you mentioned Ric Flair there, and you obviously worked in NWA with Ric Flair. But I mean, that was really, I guess, your education into wrestling with Terry Funk, Lou Thesz. Did you go through a training school, or apart from your dad, or was it just a case of learning on the road?
Well, my father taught me the basics, fundamentals and things, but he said that you should learn from everybody all the time. And if you stop learning, you should get out of the business, because it's not good enough to stay satisfied. You have to be hungry. And my brother, who was very much a perfectionist, was never satisfied with any match or any interview or any costume. He always wanted to make it bigger and better and better and better and better.
Talking there about your brother and learning things like that. I mean, it's well known in the wrestling industry. Your brother was a very much 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is what we're doing at this time. Were you that guy, or did you like to call it in the ring?
I never called anything in the ring, because when I was starting out, I noticed I could always see the wrestlers talking, and when the wrestlers talk to each other, I couldn't hear them, but I could see them. Like they whisper each other's ear before, throwing each other in the ropes. So I didn't want anybody to say that about me. So the only thing I ever did in the ring is listen. And I did things on my own or listened. Now, if I was wrestling somebody like Terry Funk, Harley Race, somebody that had earned the authoritative leadership, I would always listen. But whenever I was the leader, I always told the other person that let's just play it by ear, and have that wide open style. And I never liked to do my brother, he only did paint by numbers for his opponent. He knew what he was going to do, but he wanted his opponent to be caught up with him.
Right. Grado, what are you, that kind of guy, Grado, or do you like to just call it as you go as well?
Sorry, I was improvisational. I just did whatever I felt like doing at any given time.
Yeah.
There's no match better than when you just go along with the crowd and listening to the crowd and having a feel for it out there. That's the way I feel. But I mean, I stand on people's toes, poke their eyes. I do the same shit every fucking match. I've got mine's is just like a kind of pantomime inside the ring. Do you know what pantomime is, Lanny?
Oh yes, Marceau.
Yes, Gigi. Juju.
Yeah. Like you want to crack an egg, you don't do it like this. You go.
Correct. Exactly. It's all about the. You know what I mean?
So I mean, you and Randy, learned on the road. You were given your basic training by your dad. You guys basically learned on the road. Do you think in wrestling today that's a missing quality because there's so many training schools now, and you go to a training school and then you go into developmental, but you don't get that experience of just being out on the road and getting someone like Terry Funk or Lou Thesz taking you under their wing and going, "This is how you do it, kid,"
Yes, I know what you're saying, and I feel that I had an advantage that I had 12 years to be lousy before I got my big break in the WWF. There's the way to make a good interview is to make a million lousy ones, and improve each time. So you're right. It was an advantage to work the territories, and we wrestled like 9 times a week, and it was, and a lot of times $400 a week was very good for a week, and but I would always save $200 or at the minimum $150, and then after 7 years I had saved my first $100,000.
There you go.
In other words, and sometimes I cheated a little bit. I wouldn't eat, if I was having a little, and why would I go through that if it was all worth it, you see?
Yeah, and another thing as well, you wrestled through the 80s when the drug culture was absolutely massive, and you're on record to say that you've never touched a drug, you've never smoked a fag, you've never smoked a cigarette. Yes. That's obviously going to help with your money saving as well, because you're not spending money on drugs.
That's right, and also I remember Jesse the Body Ventura. We got along very well in the car, and we were working in the Pacific Northwest, Oregon and Washington, and what a fantastic person to ride with. But he stops. I fill the car up, and he stops to get some food, and he buys me a gift, Happy Days. And Happy Days is a little tobacco you put between your cheek and gum. Uh-huh. And he says, "This will get you started, then you graduate to Skoll and finally get to Copenhagen," which is what I use. And I said, "Thank you, but no thank you." So he says, all the boys are doing it. And I said, "Well, I'm more worried about what my dentist thinks of me than the wrestlers."
I mean, it must have been. Did you have other people trying to come up and say, "What? Oh, come on, Lanny, have a line. Take this, take that." It must have been. Yeah. It must have been hard to tell these people, "Look, no, I'm not interested."
Yeah, I had to do it, because I was. Now, unfortunately, in 1989, before my big break with Hulk Hogan as the Genius, I took steroids, and then when I was trying to do the Gorgeous George gimmick in the WCW, steroids weren't legal then, so I took human growth hormone. And I'm not saying it because I'm proud of it. I'm saying it because I want your audience to hear it in case they are considering gambling their life with these dangerous drugs.
Because a lot of wrestlers are dead.
That's right, and I just lucked out. Mm-hmm. So, I'm not proud of it, but I'm saying I want to tell you guys the truth, so your people will maybe listen to my more credible analysis that the good that it does you is temporary, the bad that it does you is permanent.
What advice would you give to a wrestler on the road that bumps into some women? What's your advice on women on the road?
Well, wrap your willy.
Yeah, that's fucking brilliant. Wrap your willy. That's good advice, mate. That's good advice. I wish I'd listened to you a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I knew a guy that had hags, not haggis, hags.
Hags.
Hags. It's herpes, AIDS, gonorrhea, and syphilis.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
But the good news is they gave him pizza. He says, "Will that cure my hags?" He says, "No, that's the only thing we can slide under the door."
Brilliant. So just we'll get into the Hall of Fame was back in 2015. how did that feel? You know, standing on that stage and inducting your brother in. It must have been an amazing moment for you.
Well, you know, I went through a lot of torment to do that because Randy didn't want to go in by himself. He wanted my father and myself to go with him as the Poffo family, because a year before he died, the Von Erichs were inducted.
That's right.
And you must admit that 4 of the Von Erichs deserved to be there, and 2 of them did not. So the Fritz, Kerry, Kevin, and David belonged, and Chris and Michael did not. So he said, Lanny, you sucked, but you were better than Chris. So that was, and he said, if anything happens to me, make sure that we go in as the Poffo family or not at all. So in about 6 months after Randy died, I get a call from John Laurinaitis asking me if I would put Randy into the Hall of Fame. And I said Randy's wishes were that it was the Poffo family or nothing. Randy, Lanny, Angelo. And he said, okay, I'll get back with you, but he never did. So I imagine it didn't get over. So then when I turned 59, I knew I had accomplished one thing that Randy never did. I turned 59 and I was now the older brother.
Oh,
yeah.
So I decided to overrule Randy. And I thought the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, or the one, which is from Star Trek. And I said, you got millions of Macho fans. You only got one Macho Man. And if it wasn't for those Macho fans, the Macho Man would not exist. Exactly. So what I did was I did the best thing I could do. And of course, I had to tell my mom my decision. She says, no, that wasn't Randy's wishes. I said, well, because Randy was the oldest, I didn't get a lot of my wishes a lot of times. So now that I'm the oldest and I've got you outnumbered, you know, I'm going to go ahead with this.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really honourable thing, I think, for you to do. It must have been really hard for you to do as well, Lanny.
It was hard, but I feel it was the right move. And I also ask fans all the time, aren't you glad I decided to?
Of course,
And people liked my speech, but the thing is, it would have been much better if they had done it while Randy was alive for one last, ooh, yeah.
Actually, I need to come to that, though, because you and Randy have you're brought up in the same family, you come from the same area, but your voices are completely different. I mean, how did that happen?
Well, it was when we decided, you know, he was having trouble with his interviews, and I told him, why don't you imitate Pampero Firpo? And that was like, you are watching #1 station in Hawaii. Oh, yeah. And he was Armenian from Argentina, so he had a strange accent. And I said, you read that line. And he says, you are watching the #1 station in Hawaii. Ooh, yeah. And I went, that's money. I said, he's got it. And then he spent the next 3 months in the mirror working on his interview. And believe it or not, he was never satisfied with any interview, any match, anything. He was always wanting more, better. And I'd say he made his point.
So did he speak like that to your mum? That's what, did he speak, or did he drop? Was that a constant?
I'm going to be honest with you. The last when I got him doing ooh yeah, the last time that I heard Randy Poffo was that day, and from then on, it was yeah.
Oh really?
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Even with your parents,
He changed.
Really? Wow.
That's amazing.
He called me on the phone. Yeah, here's the deal. I said, okay, I was there when you found the accent, but that's fine.
So you probably were one of the only people to not get unnerved when he spoke to you.
Oh, he made me nervous. But,
did he?
You know, I was the youngest in the family, and we got along fine.
Who would win in a shoot fight, though, Lanny? That's what we want to know. Who would win the shoot fight?
Even now, he would beat me.
Right. Did you catch the? I can't remember if you were involved in it, but the dark side of the ring feature on your brother. How do you feel that came across?
Well, I liked it a lot. I just don't like people that have been divorced many times that think they can give marital advice to 2 dead people. Okay, and my answer to that is, how many times have you been married? and when was the last time somebody made love to you and meant it? So, I really, really don't like people talking negatively about my brother. So here's my warning. If you lie about him, I will tell the truth about you.
Fair enough. I think that's absolutely fair. Well, Lanny, I mean, thank you so much for joining us on Wrestling Daft. Really,
see, before you go, who was the biggest prick you've ever met in wrestling?
Who had the biggest prick or who was the biggest?
Well, we all know who had the biggest prick.
We know how you have according to the rumor, Larry.
Say what now?
According to the rumor,
we all know who's got the biggest prick.
Who does?
I've heard it's you, man.
Chris Jericho told us it was you.
He said it was me?
Yeah.
Well, he's lying. See, mine is mostly exaggeration. I admit to being above average. But when I saw Robert Fuller, also known as...
the manager?
Yeah, there was Colonel Tom Parker.
That's right. I met him in Cleveland. He's got a big knob.
He put me out of business.
Did you ever see Andre's penis?
The only reason that mine is big is because I measure it like a cat's tail, from the anus to the tip.
I did that. I'm going to start doing that myself.
Yes. But anyway, I would like to just say, Chris Jericho wouldn't know if he just heard. And every time you hear something, it grows a little. Like I knew a one-armed fisherman that caught a fish this big. So anyway, who was the biggest prick in the business? I'd have to go with Ole Anderson. And let me see, who else would be... You didn't have much time for Bam Bam Bigelow, did you? Oh my God, no, that was horrible. But I don't like to
speak ill of the dead.
Speak ill of the deceased. But here's a guy that used to sleep at the Acme Ritz Central Arms Waldorf Plaza Ritz, and then he couldn't even he couldn't even do child support. So I have no sympathy for that guy.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, Lanny, thank you very much for coming on Wrestling Daft. Really appreciate your time, and again, just thank you. We should get you an ICW. Let's get a booking for Lanny and ICW.
Yeah, after this virus cures up, I will do it. Yes, sir.
Yes.
I love you guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you, gentlemen. And the noise that you heard in the background was they're working on my air conditioner, which is a necessity in Florida, not a luxury.
You better believe it. And it's necessities that you need to save for.
Yes. Anyway, thank you guys. Enjoyed it.
Stay safe.
Thank you very much, Lanny. Take it easy, pal.
All right, so before we go, let's crown our listener of the week, and it's going to be Mr. Geordie Coyle himself, and that amazing story about creating himself in a wrestling game and then somebody else renting out of the video shop and finding him in there. That's beautiful. I love that. I love that story. Stuff. It makes me want to load up my N64 No Mercy the Now to look at all my created wrestlers. Listen, I've said this before. We need to do a wee bit of talking about wrestling computer games on this show at some point. I want to do that. So, Grado, it's been great chatting to you. Anything else to add before we wrap it up?
I like the fan stories. I think they should, if you've got any stories about wrestling at all that's daft, let us know, man.
Anything at all.
It really brights up our night, doesn't it?
I love your stories. See, without your stories, because this is the punters show. Wrestling Daft is about the punters.
We're a community. We're on this together. You know what I mean?
Family, and that's what wrestling's all about.
Aye, hold on. So everybody, it's a great wee show. Loved it. And who we got coming up next week, John? Have we got MD?
You tell me, Grado. Who are you booking?
Who these want? I've been saying this for a year.
Rab, who do you want on the show?
I'll tell you what, honestly, what I would want, right, and I know it's terrible saying this because I know we've already had him on the show twice, but I would quite like to catch up with Sha again. If we can do that, would be nice. Whether it's an interview or no, but I'd like to catch up and see how he's been doing with lockdown. I think it'd be a good laugh to talk to him about lockdown. Because
last time we had to really kind of phone it in, didn't it? It was kind of shite when we caught up with him.
Yeah. I want to find out.
Because he says to me, "You're going to be fucked with me." He says, we'll just sitting there.
Let's try and get Sha on again. Let's try and get Sha on because I want to find out how lockdown's been treating him, and I want to hear what his plans are for when wrestling gets back.
I'm sure I can
go in
guarantee Shah next
2025.
week. Yeah. Well then,
Right.
it's time to go up the road.
Up the road, it's yourself.
I can't believe you never made that Lanny Poffo interview. Lanny Poffo. What, Lanny Poffo?
Well, that's a bad. That's why I wasn't there, because I knew you were going to call him Larry Poffo during it at some point.
Audio Frontier.